environment, please raise the roof and give a phenomenal welcome to our guest speaker for this event tonight, Mr. Dave Neita.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think that's a photograph before lockdown. My hair has grown, my beard has grown. But yes, it's been good. It's good to see everybody here tonight. Thank you to whoever put me on this slot just before people even have a morsel to eat. I promise I'll keep it brief. So I think might be an idea to, first of all, big respect to all the apprentices and the people who support them and love them and care for them, and all of your firms who employ them and train them. And it's a very special night, really. The nation and the growth of our nation will increasingly grow on apprentices and their contribution to our society. I thought I might just give some advice, in particular to the apprentices, but to all of us really. And I thought I'd get some help with that, because sometimes it's good to have a little bit of an aide-memoire. And I realized that I didn't have to really think about the advice too much, because all this time when we were going to school, we had a little box, most of us really, that reminded us and give us some clues that might encourage us. And it's this little set here. We used to call it a geometry set. And I think by looking at each of the implements here, we might get some advice. So before we even open it, it's kind of advertising an institution. I'm not promoting that institution, but what we know from that institution is that it's ranked #1 in the world, according to their rank. It's ranked #1 in the world, Oxford University. And it's an immediate kind of aspirational thing for us to think, well, I want to be #1 in whatever I'm doing. Not all by yourself. You're all winners here. All the people who are here nominated and even not nominated. But in my attitude, right? You want to have that aspirational thing. So even before you opened your set, there was this feeling of an aspiration. I think there's even a globe on it. We have to be global in our thinking, broad in our thinking, and in our approach. Then you open up the set and you begin to find some things. The ruler reminds us of so much. It makes me think of Joseph. Most of us, again, would have heard, whether you're from a religious background or a non-religious background, whether you've read about him somewhere or seen him on stage, would have heard about Joseph. This Joseph and the Pharaoh. And this is what it reminds me of, this ruler. Because Joseph, and you know the story, and if you haven't read it or heard it before, it's part of your assignment this evening. You should. But he had a long arc in his life. From youth, we see him as a youth wearing a little ganzi, and his father decided he should wear something really special that's destined for greatness. A very loved child. And then he moves from that to become, he was sold into slavery by his own brothers. We've seen that repeated, that story repeated across history. And then he does it's a real low. He does a little bit better by then taken into the house of Potiphar as a servant, bit of an upgrade. Goes back down by going into prison. Eventually asked to come and meet the Pharaoh, and then he was promoted. Let me take us to the time when he was in Potiphar's house. He was excellent. He was brilliant. And when you're excellent and when you're brilliant, you'll have proposals all the time. He was excellent in everything he did. There was an indecent proposal in that household. I'm not going to go into it. But the important thing about that proposal was that Joseph considered it, rejected it outright, and said that would be disrespectful to a fellow human being. Then he said it would be disrespectful, which is Potiphar's husband, Potiphar himself. It would be disrespectful to God. I mean, so that's why I raised the ruler. And whether you want to think in a religious context or not, there has to be something above you, right? That is better than you, that you can look to. And he consulted these things, a social contract which we have with each other, and something above himself, holding that ruler above himself, to reject the offer. Then he said, there's no one greater than me. How is that? Somebody who is a servant saying, there's no one greater than me. But understanding your greatness, no matter where you are in the firm, no matter where you're ranked in the firm, there's no one greater than you. This ruler, it's almost like a rule of law. And that's why I mentioned the rule of law, because if you're not thinking in a spiritual sense, you're thinking there's something else that's above me, that can guide me. And look at what happened to Joseph in that relationship and that chat with the Pharaoh, when he had some answers because he was developing his skills all the time. He became ruler. He was promoted to ruler of that nation because of his wisdom. And bear in mind, don't lose the fact that he was very different from the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was the most powerful man on the planet at the time. Joseph had a different skin color, different hair texture, spoke a different language. But that Pharaoh recognized talent in Joseph, and the economic advice that Joseph gave him, he didn't take it and give it to one of his friends that he went to school with and pal with. But he recognized the fact that somebody from a different culture, different nation, with talent and skill should be promoted themselves, not take away the skill they have and give it to somebody else, as happens so often in our society, in our firms, in our politics. That's the ruler. The protractor. Protract, extend. It means to extend yourself. You're bright, you're brilliant, help somebody else. Extend yourself. Push your influence further and consider others around who you might be able to help. We come next to this is called a set square. And they have two different angles. There's another one here. Don't always look at things from one example. This is diversity. Sometimes one angle don't work, try another angle. Don't just have one perspective. Learn to see things from other people's perspective, so that you become broad, you become rounded, and you have different ways to approach the problem. The set square. Set your goals and make them clear. Always push out your influential sphere. Hang around people who really care. And make sure you get there. This didn't used to be in my set when I was growing up, but it's a stencil. It's not very helpful to me. Not every tool in the box is helpful. Not very helpful to me. I much rather freehand. I much rather try it out myself and not rigidly stick to something that somebody already set out. I call myself an artist as well. The eraser. Always remember, you can try again. Make a mistake, rub it out. But don't rub it completely out. Leave the background. Remind yourself of your mistakes. Learn from them and go forward. And sometimes they weren't even really mistakes. Sometimes you don't even need this. Leave it just as it is. It might be a scribble, becomes a work of art. Keep yourself sharp. The sharpener, always keep yourself sharp. Very important. And finally, we have the compass. You know what? The compass reminds us of our moral compass. Always remember that. Wherever you're working, you'll have some ethics that control you. Ethics that control your practices and so on. Remember your ethics. Remember your moral compass. Extremely important. No, when I was growing up, there was a divider as well. They don't put them in here anymore. But, my friends, we have to improvise. There's a little pencil in there. And you can still get your divider by using the pencil. And so I guess it's really cutting down on material and conserving and so on. So the same use of the compass, we can now use as a divider. And remember to divide your time well. Use your time effectively. Time is like really a currency. Anything you purchase in life, sometimes you use money to purchase it. But sometimes the other way to think about it is you're purchasing it with time. Any result you get, any grade you get, or anything, what you did was exchange some of your time to purchase that thing. So remember to always divide your time appropriately and project yourself, increase your sphere of influence, help other people, and continue to be absolutely amazing. God bless you all. Thank you.